Hello, it is Sara Waggle, astrologer and leadership coach here for this Moon Astrology Tarot, this time for the Moon in Capricorn. Okay, we've been building up for this one for a while. So links below if you want to check out the sun and rising signs for the second Capricorn full moon. The moon's going to be here from the 19th through the 21st. Yes, 21st, and the moon peaks at full at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So right at the end of this lunation cycle. So I'm going to try something, but Zoom's been making a lot of changes. So I'm very confused. So I'm gonna try this and hope it works and hope it's, I don't know. Okay, let's see if I can make this work. Okay, hopefully this is visible on the recording. I may have to record this twice or 10 times like I've done before. Okay, I just wanted to give you kind of like a heads up, where's all the planets at, because we are in a really weird time. And so, of course, we have this full moon at 20. I wonder if I do that. Does that make it bigger for y'all? I know some people have been kind of complaining that it's too small. Okay, so the full moon peaks at 29 degrees of Capricorn, within a degree conjunct Pluto at 1 degree, or zero, is it 1, 0? 0. 0 degrees of Aquarius. Of course, it's opposite the sun down here in Cancer, and we have Mercury and Venus in Leo. Mercury's in shadow, going to be going retrograde on August 5th. But more importantly, we want to look at Mars and Uranus over on the lower left side. And Mars is moving into Gemini, but Uranus is getting damn close to moving into Gemini. And that's about a year away. It moves into Gemini in July of 2025. And I haven't looked ahead enough to see if it will retrograde back into Taurus or not, but either way, it's going to present some newness. Additionally, we want to look up here on the far left side at Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So there's the blue outer ring, and then within that outer ring, you can see Neptune's is it called a Poseidon? I always forget. I'm sorry. You'd think I would know. But like the fork looking thing, and then Saturn is the orange one, and they're retrograde right now. They will dip their toes into Aries next year. And that is so significant because Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. They will both dip their toes in. They will not conjunct there in 2025, but they will both go there at 0 degrees Aries in 2025. And then they will both retrograde back into Pisces and not meet at 0 degrees Aries until February of 2026. So there's that. Pluto will retrograde back to 29 degrees of Capricorn, where this full moon is happening right now. That happens between September 1st through November 20th. I want to say, I might have my dates wrong. But either way, between September and November, Pluto is going to retrograde back to 29 degrees of Capricorn, where this full moon is peaking. So this full moon is also the second full moon in Capricorn through this Cancer season. So the universe wants you to know something about that 29-degree Capricorn. Now, what I do want to also say here is that Capricorn often refers to government systems and structures and whatnot. And so while we may see, our own like programming and conditioning coming apart, there's also like a complete shit show going on in in our authority figures, if you haven't noticed. um so what and then so then in November Pluto will move back into Aquarius, where he will be for the next 20 years, till like 2044 or something like that, when he'll move into Pisces. So that's a significant change. Why am I bringing this up? Because I'm noticing that a lot of people are feeling like a lot of things are letting go. A lot of things are done, a lot of their life, lifestyle, life habits, or relationships, or whatever is letting go. Because when you have two outer planets, meaning Saturn and Neptune, in Pisces, the 12th sign of the zodiac, and about to move into the first sign of the zodiac, that's a significant amount of letting go. That's not only them in the last, moving into the last degrees of any sign, but Pisces particularly, because it's the last sign of the zodiac. So if you're feeling like fucking confused, what do I freaking do next? What's going on? How do I even proceed forward? The universe is giving us this opportunity to build or create, and also an opportunity to grieve what is letting go, to grieve what's finished, what is complete, right? And the reset of this lunation cycle is part of that process, because we had 2 full moons in Capricorn. That resets the lunar cycle. So things may not feel as crunchy from here on out. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, that's okay. But my point in saying all of this is that if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling like, I don't even understand what's going on, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go next, I don't have a clue, it's because the universe isn't giving us those nuggets yet. However, we do have clues and cues, right? We have an idea that Pluto's moving into Aquarius. It's all about humanity, the collective future, robots, AI, artificial intelligence, our augmented reality, those sorts of things, the machines versus humanity, which is the Transformers, in full effect. And so I just really wanted to show you where the state of the planets, right? And of course, we'll see more of that when I do the sun and rising signs in Leo, for Leo season. But I just kind of wanted you to get kind of an idea. Let me see if I can. Okay, cool. So I want you to think about that, or feel into that when we go through this Capricorn full moon, because I think it's going to be I feel like it's going to be cathartic, because the sun's going to be trine Neptune for a day, and the moon will immediately move into Aquarius and conjunct Pluto. And then the moon will oppose Venus and Mercury in Leo. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So what I feel like this full moon could be like a body process, like a body moving through energies. And it could be very significant. It could be very weighty. And it also could be a really good time to, have a burn ceremony, or really feel every part of you that has to let go of the old thing that's not serving you, the relationship, the job, the career path you thought you were on, and prepare for what's new. Now, I will say that because these planets are dipping their toes into new signs in 2025, but they're coming back and then fully moving in 2026. 2025 has the potential to be an upheaval of year for all of us, Please remember, you are never alone. You are experiencing something that everyone else is experiencing in their own way. We may have different stories, different circumstances, the drama may be different, but we're all experiencing something, right? And so as we move into this moon in Capricorn, this full moon in Capricorn that kind of sends Cancer season off with a shebang, it could be emotional. It could be really felt through your body. You could feel it in your gut. You could feel it in your sacral. You could feel it in your root. You may be headachy. Highly recommend staying hydrated. Also with that trine and sextile to Neptune, I certainly recommend avoiding alcohol or other intoxicants. I just think it's that important as Neptune continues his journey through 29, these last degrees of Pisces, like the more clear-minded you can stay, the better. And I don't mean to sound super preachy about it, but I'm just noticing from other people's stories that weird shit's happening with people who are consuming intoxicants. So no judgment, it's just weird shit's happening. So I do recommend, and certainly staying hydrated, really being attentive to your physical body, your emotional body. What do you need to process? What do you need to have a really good cry about? What really needs to move through your body? And certainly check out the video for the sun and rising signs for Cancer season, because I do talk about this full moon. But I think as it gets closer, I have certainly felt it a little differently, maybe than I did in that video. But the universe certainly wants us to see something in that Capricorn house in our natal charts, and really feel into, what that is, and feel into what shifts need to be made, or what needs to be, what programming or conditioning needs to go away, right? Maybe it's, you were conditioned to feel a certain way about a person or a job or a field of study, but you're like, I fucking love it. So what's the problem? That you're like, oh, but it's so wrong for me to want to do that, or for me to enjoy that. It's not wrong for you to want to do that. If you're wanting to study a spiritual path, you should be okay to do so, and don't worry about what people around you think. And I know I say that a lot, but I think it's kind of, we're at that point where it's like, if the people criticizing you for what you want to do are not doing anything to better themselves, or whatever, that they're just kind of judging you. Like, I know I say that a lot, but I feel it a little differently this time, and I don't know how to explain it. But it's kind of like, if you it's kind of like if you grew up in the same place all your life, and then you like go away for a time, and then you come back and you see those people with a fresh set of eyes or a fresh set of ears, however you perceive, or perceptuate, is that a word? Do you know what I'm saying? However you sense it, because I know I got a lot of blind audience out there, and I don't want to be like, however, seeing it with new eyes, or hearing it with new ears, or sensing it with, after you've touched the ocean or something like that, and you come back and you're like, like, just remember that if that same area of your life is still criticizing or judging, or like, that's kind of how I'm feeling it. That's kind of how I'm feeling it. It's like you've got a whole different perception now to see it from a new angle, and to honor that within yourself. So could be a very intense full moon. Definitely recommend, keep yourself well nourished, keep your self-care up, hydration. If you can get around water and get some water cleansing, all the better. All of those sorts of things. So, because I really feel like this could be very cathartic, and we could really feel it through our whole being. So anyway, also be on the lookout, of course, for those Leo sun and rising signs. I'll try to get those out before Leo season. Okay, we got the Hanged Man in reverse. Hold on one second. This is, of course, Lieutenant Barkley. Man in reverse. What are we saying here? I think it's kind of what I said. I feel like it's what I said. It's like you're not getting all of the information yet. So whereas the Hanged Man upright would be like you're self-induced, hanging yourself, this is kind of like you're being forced, I feel like, to be in limbo or be in a void or be in a state of flux, because we really are. This is how big and transformative this shift is for ourselves individually, for our communities, for our nations, for our planet, is that we're all kind of being held in limbo. Like we don't know what the fuck is going on. None of us does. None of us knows what's going on. We're in unfamiliar territory here. And there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. There's a what the hell between conspiracy theories, if you want to call it that. I call them truths. That's me. But maybe you're like going too far down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. That is possible. But you know, maybe it's you're seeing the light on a lot of things and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know anything about anything. And I think that's the whole thing that I learned from my own personal journey from 2020 to 2022 was like, I don't know anything about anything anymore. We don't know anything. We don't know who's alive, who's dead. We don't know who's an actor, who's not, who's CGI'd, who's AI, who's a masked actor. We don't know anything. And I think this is, I think that's exactly what this is. And we also don't even know what to do with our own life. And I think that that's okay. I think it's a good time to be in limbo. It is a good time to hold the line. It's a good time to do some self-discovery, to, you know, really feel into like, what is the most important thing for you? What really matters for you to really pursue? And unfortunately, what needs to go or what needs to shift, or what do I need to really focus on inviting in or allowing in or manifesting in to make that happen? Let's get a clarifier on that. See what the tarot has to clarify that. King of Starships in reverse, King of Cups in reverse. Well, yeah, that pretty much emotional manipulation, illusions, you know, someone who is overly overbearing or is giving you false information. How do I want to word this? It's false information disguised as looking pretty. It's not necessarily low-hanging fruit or shiny object, smells like shit on the inside, but like it's the typical politician who tells you they're going to make everything okay so they can get elected. And then when you're after the election, this happened to me when I was in college. This is how I knew politics was bullshit. Was because I had a friend who was running for president and I helped on his campaign and thought, okay, this will be cool. And he talked about doing all this stuff for accessibility on campus and blah, blah, blah. The minute he gets elected and we're sitting at the diner less than a week after he gets elected, and I was like, hey, dude, what are you going to do about some of this accessibility stuff? Like he literally never looked at me, nothing. And I was sitting behind him. He never turned to look at me. He stayed staring straight ahead and said, I don't know what you're talking about. These people will do anything to get you to vote for them. Okay, okay, glad we understand that. But this is also true if you're in a relationship with somebody who says anything to keep you dangling along like a fool, right? It's the illusion and it's emotional manipulation. So, okay, so we've got emotional manipulation and we've got hanging in limbo, because if you've ever gotten out of a bad relationship, then you know that coming out of a bad relationship, you're like, who am I? Who am I? What just happened? What's going on? You have so many questions because you have no idea who the version of you is that fell for that crap or that relationship. Okay. I feel like that's kind of where a lot of people are, is like, how did I even get into this mess? How did I even believe this stuff for my entire life? That's called conditioning. That's called programming. We've all been there. It's okay. We're all in that situation. Okay. Let's get to the self-care cards because I've kind of made this pretty long, but I also felt like it was really important to share a few things before we get into the thick and crazy of Leo season. Let's get you a couple of things that you can work on while this full moon is happening. I definitely recommend a burn ceremony, or however you version a burn ceremony. Come on. Um, Okay, well, we got sex again. Did we just have this one recently? All right, so if your relationship's going swimmingly well, go have some good sex, or maybe go have a one night stand, go have a fling, get some feel good in ya, or tricks of words. Let's see what else we got. Um, or a sweet treat. Yeah, I definitely think like this could be a good weekend for, binging on some ice cream or, your favorite peanut butter cup or your favorite treat or whatever. I think this could be good. It could be soothing for us as we move through this full moon cycle. So we're heading into some intense time. So I hope you enjoyed Cancer season because it wasn't that bad, comparably speaking. I hope you enjoyed it. That's Leo season and beyond. It's about to crank up. And I really hope that you have been able to hear the messages of the universe, your spirit guides, your higher self, your soul self, um, your ancestral guides that are there to support you, to love you, and to help you, your angel guides, your animal spirit guides, and really I send you all the best. And I know this journey is challenging because we have that human ego that just wants to control everything. But yeah. So, all right. That's what I got for you. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.